Happy Tuesday, television family. Wake up Wenatchee Valley, back on TV, or as we like to say in the business, and I don't want to bore you with shop talk, but we like to call it television. It is the 22nd day of September 2020. A couple of quick notes. It is, of course, the first day of autumn. Autumn came just about a half an hour ago. 6:31 this morning, the official autumnal equinox, so we're into autumn. 2020, it's also 100 days left in the year. 100 days left in the year 2020. Can't go soon enough for me. And just one last little item of business. 6 weeks to Election Day, which also can't come soon enough for me. What we can get real quick is rain. It is finally going to come. A couple of quick notes. They made a couple of changes to the forecast from the last time you and I saw each other yesterday. That cold front that's bringing the rain in, it's kind of slowed down a little bit. They've also backed off the amount of rain that we're going to get, but beggars can't be choosers. We're going to get some rain, especially Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday night. I can't wait to give you that forecast because we need it. And as we always do on the solstices and on the equinoxes, Bonnie Orr will be my guest for your autumn lawn and garden tips. Get there's still lots of good gardening to go. The weather is cooler, it's pleasant. Lots of good things to do out and about in your yard, in your garden. We'll talk to Bonnie Orr about everything you need to know in the back half of the program. All right, 59 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Let's see what we got on this, the first day of autumn. We have a beautiful view from the cross camera. Look at the sun just bathing the foothills of Wenatchee on the far left-hand side of your screen. Sun came up at 6:48, so it's just barely waking up, getting going. Sun will dip down below the foothills at 6:57 tonight. That buys us 12 hours and 9 minutes of daylight. Even though it's the first day of autumn, it's not exactly 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness. Doesn't quite work out that way, but pretty close. Good morning, Wenatchee Valley. Welcome to autumn. Camera 2, from this point forward, of course, I never know. Megan gets to do it. That looks to be Monument Hill. So we say good morning to the folks out in the Columbia Basin, although I must say I don't know what direction Megan has that camera pointed, but I do know it's Monument Hill. You can tell by, well, the view. Good morning to our friends out in the Columbia Basin. It looks like the opening credits of a Western from the 1970s, doesn't it? Camera number 3, it's off to, that looks to be Blag Mountain. Yay! Hello, Blag Mountain. We're looking over the lovely hamlet of Leavenworth. Blag Mountain is one of the highest peaks above Peshastin. It's a long drive to get to that Sky-Fi tower. All of these cameras, of course, courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless setup. And we say good morning to Leavenworth, which is down there. If you squint, you can see it. Camera number 4. Hello to, let me think, Union Valley? Hey, I went 4 for 4. Well, the first one I always know. It's always the cross camera. Good morning, Union Valley. Good view there. That's, of course, on the north shore of Lake Chelan. As we look at Lake Chelan, the Butte is on the left-hand side of your screen there. We have a camera up there as well. We have a camera at Bear Mountain. We have 2 cameras on the Butte, as a matter of fact. We have a couple of cameras out in Manson. Good views this morning on the first day of autumn. Couple of slides from the National Weather Service. Changes are on the way. We're going to have a fairly nice day today. As the day progresses, we're going to see some increasing clouds, and then all of us are going to get some much needed rain, especially Wednesday night and Thursday. Some cooler temperatures are going to accompany the incoming cold front. But as I mentioned, the timing of the cold front has slowed down. So instead of sliding across the area tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night down into Thursday, it's going to be more like overnight Wednesday. It's slowed down just a little bit, not very much, but enough. As far as rainfall totals are concerned, they've also backed off on that a little bit. We were hoping for maybe a quarter of an inch of rain. We could use all the rain we could get, but not so much now. But we'll take it. We'll take what we can get. As you can see to the north of us, up in the Omak, Okanagan area and in the Methow Valley, you're going to get more rain. The Idaho Panhandle is going to get quite a bit of rain, and a little bit more rain down to the Walla Walla, Woodman County area. We're still in the lee of the Cascades. We're going to get some rain, but not as much as we were hoping for, but we'll take it. So that's your forecast rain amounts. Take a look at where you live, and there you go. From Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they give your home a hug, and here you go. Your forecast and details. Again, quite a bit of sunshine this morning. You'll see the clouds start to filter in later on this afternoon. We'll top off right around 78 or 79. For the record, we get 71 yesterday. Cloudy and 57 tonight. Wednesday, the rain will come in the afternoon hours, mainly after 11 a.m. for Wednesday. So rain during the day. in the afternoon. Light rain, about 1/10 of an inch, maybe if we get lucky. High of about 70. Definitely looking at a good chance of rain from about 6 o'clock in the evening tomorrow night, Wednesday night, from 6 o'clock to about 2 in the morning. Then it tapers off with an overnight low of 56. So the best chance of rain is going to happen, again, late in the afternoon Wednesday, pretty much all the way through overnight Wednesday night into Thursday. A little bit of light rain expected on Thursday. Outside of that, we'll have a few sub-breaks and a high of about 70 degrees. Also a little windy as the cold front comes through on Thursday. Friday, chance of rain picks back up again. About a 50% chance of rain. And again, we'll take it with a high of only 67. Again, it's a cold front bringing in some cool air. Maybe some light raindrops on Saturday morning. Probably not, but 30% is our demarcation line. If it's 30% or more, we show it. High of 72. Sunday, look at that, right on up to 80. And then mid-80s. Of course, this is, even though we're into autumn, we oftentimes get temperatures in the 80s. In late September and early October. And again, the best chance of measurable rain is going to come tomorrow late afternoon, about 6 o'clock in the evening, all the way through Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. Bring on the rain. We have not had measurable rain, enough rain to register on the rain gauge at Pangbourne since June 15th. A long, long drought. Summer of 2020 will be known as the summer that we didn't have any rain. Going to take a break and come back with your news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
I have fiber at home because it allows me to do a great job in my profession. It allows me to learn things that I need to learn at home. It allows my kids to hopefully one day be able to be educated because of what they learned online and what they learn from their teachers. And it allows us to have fun too as a family. And we're able to do a lot of things because of fiber internet. I'm Rudy, and my family learns with fiber.
Join NCW Live Channel for another night at the races Saturday at Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. It's the Neil Newberry 125 presented by Pepsi for the Northwest Super Late Model Series. It's also the Tommy Wentz Classic for the Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning Thunder Cars. There's also the Holiday Custom Muffler B-Mods and the Plum Perfect Roadrunners. Coverage starts at 6 Saturday live on the NCW Live Channel, your local TV station.
Partly cloudy, 59 degrees at 8 minutes after the hour. Increasing clouds today. Fairly cloudy tonight. Rain Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night into early Thursday morning, and cooler temperatures. It's going to feel like autumn, just in time for autumn. Here are your headlines. 2 men from our area have been arrested in separate investigations of child sexual abuse. Tyler Clark McAllister of Manson and Jamie Serrato of Wenatchee, both arrested Thursday on suspicion of child molestation and incest. Chelan County Sheriff's deputies say McAllister, 43 years old, is suspected of abusing a 5-year-old child. In Serrato's case, the alleged victim is a teenager and disclosed claims of sexual abuse dating back to the age of 6. Chelan County prosecutors have until Tuesday, today, to file formal charges. 4 more deaths in the Wenatchee Valley now attributed to COVID-19. The virus has claimed a total of 22 people in Chelan and Douglas counties. The Valley's Health District says the latest patients to succumb to the coronavirus were 3 men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 1 woman in her 80s. Now, right now, 8 people are hospitalized in Wenatchee for coronavirus. Health officials continue to recommend public masking and social distancing to prevent the spread of the virus. On the positive side, the number of positive COVID-19 cases in our area continue to decline. The Chelan-Douglas Health District has been tracking the number of cases per 100,000 over the last 14 days, and in Friday's report, that number fell to just over 200. Now, Governor Jay Inslee has set the goal of 25 new cases per 100,000 population over a 2-week period, and in the 2-county area, we've been moving in the good direction. For much of July and August, that number in Chelan-Douglas was 400 or higher per 100,000 population. The improvement even more dramatic in Okanagan County. The once hard-hit county is currently below Inslee's threshold of 18.7 cases per 100,000 residents over the last 14 days. And that means the Omak School District said Sunday they're going to review a return to in-class instruction. A 33-year-old Moses Lake man was killed Sunday morning when his vehicle rolled into an irrigation canal. This happened about 5 miles southeast of Ephrata. The Grant County Sheriff's Office said Michael Mendoza was driving north on W20 Canal Road when he tried to turn around, but the rear tires slid over an embankment and the 2004 Mazda 6 rolled onto its top in the water-filled canal. The Sheriff's Office said it appears he couldn't escape and was found dead at the scene at about 6:30 in the morning. Mendoza was not wearing a seatbelt, which could mean he unlocked it himself after the accident. According to the Sheriff's Office, the canal is at the east end of Road 8 Northwest. The Grant County coroner will be conducting an autopsy. 2 civic groups are hosting a virtual voter education event. It happens tomorrow, Wednesday. It's in partnership with NCW Libraries. Young professionals of NCW and the NCW Young Voters League are the key hosts for the Zoom session. Starts at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Topics include ways to channel passion into action and the role that young people can play at all levels in the political sphere. You can register to participate through NCW Libraries website. Wenatchee entrepreneur and community benefactor Carl Campbell died last Thursday at the age of 98. Campbell, well known in our community for giving back to the area as he was for the empire of retirement and assisted living facilities he built across the country. Campbell had a lifelong passion for aviation. He founded Executive Flight, a medical and charter air service that operated at Pangborn Memorial Airport for 3 decades. In 2016, Carl Campbell retired, and he announced the sale of his senior facilities, which once included more than 180 properties in 21 states. Those included Colonial Vista in Wenatchee, where he had his offices. He also lived there. He was a big donor to numerous organizations, including the Central Washington Hospital Foundation. He sold the former Executive Flight Building to the Chelan-Douglas Regional Port Authority for their headquarters. The executive director, Jim Kuntz, and the Wenatchee Valley Chamber of Commerce honored Campbell at a ceremony back in February.
And one employee after another, said the following, and it was quoted in the newspaper about Mr. Campbell. He is one of the nicest, most modest, and quiet spoken, successful businessman they've ever met. And I couldn't say it any better. What a class act. So, Carl, thank you very much for being here tonight.
I appreciate so much everybody coming, and it means a lot to me in my heart that everyone would come, and it just makes sense to have the 2 counties own this building. And I think I gave you a pretty good deal, didn't I?
Yes, sir.
Again, Carl Campbell was 98 years old, 98 well-lived years. Those are your headlines at 14 minutes after the hour. We'll have a newscast for you. We always do Monday through Friday, unless it's a holiday, with Grant and Eric. Eric in the sports desk, Grant, of course, in the anchor desk. He also handles the weather. Well, not the weather forecasting anyway, with a preview of tonight's news. Here's Grant.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, Governor Jay Inslee updated COVID guidance yesterday regarding agritourism as part of Washington's Safe Start phased reopening plan. Nice weather on tap for the first day of fall today, but then wet. I'll have the details in the North Central Washington weather forecast, and Eric Granstrom will be in with highlights of last night's Mariners-Astros game. That and all the day's news headlines coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. I'll make a point to watch the news. And by the way, you can watch the news whenever you want. We'll have it up and running on our Facebook page and with a link on our Facebook page and our website and our YouTube page right around 5 o'clock. So if you can't catch those times exactly at 5, 6, and 10, just go to our website. You can watch the news whenever you feel like it. At the bottom of your screen are all the different ways you can get a hold of us. You can stand on the roof of your house with a bullhorn, but I wouldn't recommend that. Authorities will probably come. You can drop us a line via our Facebook page. You can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com, or if you go to our homepage, ncwlife.com, you see the Contact Us icon at the top of the screen. You can drop us a note that way. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the Seahawks, of course, had a nice victory on Sunday night, but it wasn't without its price. And the Seattle Mariners still alive for the postseason. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up on Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, my name is Manuel Navarro, Chief Operating Officer at Columbia Valley Community Health. Patient safety is our top priority, including providing care that just can't wait. With enhanced safety precautions, we want to ensure you that we're able to continue providing safe and efficient in-person care at our clinic. From in-car check-in, ongoing screening, immediate rooming, your family can get the safe care that they deserve here at Columbia Valley Community Health.
"16 minutes after the hour, we're back at it. Let's talk about sports. 31 Northwest Super Late Model drivers have signed up for Saturday night's season finale at Wenatchee Valley's Super Oval. They'll be taking part in the Neil Newberry 125, presented by Pepsi. The general manager of the WVSO, Jeremy Anders, is going to be on this show, by the way, on Friday. He asked us if we could start our broadcast a little early, and of course, we said no. I mean, we're busy people. We said yes. We love Jeremy. So we're going to begin our Facebook stream Saturday night live at 5:30. Now, in addition, there's also going to be a big field for the Tommy Wentz Classic. That's for the Dix Heating and Air Conditioning Thunder Cars. The track championship will be determined in the Holiday Custom Muffler B-Mods and the Plum Perfect Roadrunners. Eric Granstrom, Greg Rentz with the call live on the NCW Live channel. We'll start on Facebook at 5:30 and on television, or as we like to say in the business, TV, at 6 o'clock. Sunday night's win for the Seahawks over New England. A costly one injury-wise. Coach Pete Carroll delivered the bad news on Monday. 2 starters on defense out for the season.
Right off the top, both Bruce and Marquise are going to have surgery. And so that means that they will be done for the season. Which is really a big blow, you know. And I know a lot of teams lost players this weekend, but you know, we certainly felt it with both those guys. Both those guys have a lot to offer your team in their attitude and approach and style of play, and so it'll be difficult to replace those guys in that regard. But guys did step up in the game, and we'll continue to do so. We'll let you know more about how we deal with those the replacements and that later in the week, if I have to. If I don't have to, I won't tell you. Well, we're going to miss those guys and feel terrible for them. One guy at the start of his career, another guy that's been through a lot of stuff, and Bruce coming back around to us, was really great to have him back. It's such a positive factor and such a great example of what our program is about, and I really loved him on this team. And the other side of it is Marquise just breaking in for the first time and getting it rolling and really making a big splash to start the season off with us. And so guys in different stages of their career, but yet they're both feeling it and we're feeling the loss.
Cam Newton and the Patriot offense threw for nearly 400 yards on Sunday night, while Jamal Adams had a sack and a tackle for a loss. He also gave up some big passing plays to the Patriots, and Coach Pete Carroll says that part of Jamal Adams' game is going to have to get better.
There's a lot of room for him, and he's the first to tell you. He's such an active football player that sometimes his active can take him chasing some stuff that he needs to ignore at times. And so I love the way he plays. We're just going to keep coaching like crazy to get it right. He's going to make plays in all phases of the game. But he's got to clean some things up, and he knows it. He's asked to do a lot of stuff in our scheme, and so he's not just playing strong safety sitting on the line of scrimmage. He's all over the place, and it would be taxing for anybody. And so he's got to clean up. And when really losing Quandre was a big deal to us. Quandre's been a fantastic player for us in the short time we've had him. He's just been so steady and so consistent and all that. That forced a couple different moves to happen, and Marquise going down, just took us a couple steps down into the depth chart there, and we didn't respond as well as we liked to. There was just some plays that got away on a really good throwing team that knew what they were doing, and the quarterback was on fire. It made it hard on us, and so we'll definitely clean some things up this week and and we need to get better. We need to play better.
Seahawks will host the Cowboys at CenturyLink Field Sunday afternoon, 1:25 kickoff. You can watch it on Fox. The Mariners got a great pitching performance from former Wenatchee Apple Sox Marco Gonzalez last night. They knocked off the Astros 6-1 at T-Mobile Park. Gonzalez went 8 innings. He allowed no runs, 7 hits, 6 strikeouts, a walk. On the other side of the diamond, Lance McCullers Jr. carried a no-hitter into the 6th. Marco says that helped fuel his own fire.
You know, he carried no hitter into the 6th or 7th, whatever it was, and so I'm competing with him. I'm competing with his tempo, and you know, we were getting each other back out on the mound quick. You know, we were really rolling through some innings, and so I feel like I had some good momentum going into each one. And you know, to be honest, he really kind of fueled my momentum. He really, you know, set the bar, and when you do that to me, you know, you're going to turn on some competitive energy that's kind of been harbored a little bit. So I found another gear after the 5th, I think, and really just started going attacking people.
Well, broke up the no-hitter, a double by Tim Lopes in the 6th inning, and after that, Seattle got to McCullers. They got all over him, as a matter of fact, after he gave up the run, after he gave up the hit. They gave up 4 more runs in the 7th, including this 3-run home run by Evan White.
The 2-2. And left field, this is carrying back, and this is gone! Home run! Evan White, number 7, it comes with 2 aboard, and he has just knocked Lance McCullers Jr. out. 4-0 Mariners. He catches it out in front, McDelivery Supermo, and the extension from Evan White. Head right on it. With 2 strikes, hitting it out of the ballpark. Ooh, a little Evan White backflip to go along with it. I like it.
Mariner manager Scott Service had high praise for Marco Gonzalez. He improves to 7-2 on the season. He lowered his ERA to 3.02, and the skipper of the Mariners says, hey, Marco should be considered for the American League Cy Young Award.
Anytime Marco goes out there, man, I keep talking about he's some kind of competitive, and you know, he really wanted to get us off to a good start in this series. Certainly he's been throwing the ball great all year, but was really on his game tonight, and you know, even getting through the 8th inning there. Brantley had a couple hits off him earlier. To be able to execute that pitch in a 3-2 count, you know, it says a lot for where he's at and the confidence he has in all of his stuff, and you know, he's putting together a heck of a year. You know, you start looking at some of the better pitchers around our league and guys who are going to be in that talk about Cy Young and voting and stuff like that. So he certainly is one of the top pitchers in our league this year, and he does it every time out. So offensively, certainly McCullers, to give him a ton of credit. He was on top of his game as well. You know, we didn't get a hit, I don't think, till the 6th. Lope got the double to get us going there, and then, you know, obviously the Ty France, the double to score the 1st run, and you know, we thought we had him on the ropes, 2nd, 3rd. He punches out a couple guys, but Evan White got a breaking ball, and he didn't miss it. You know, these type of games, these at-bats, the innings, the plays for our young players is huge. And certainly playing against the team, the caliber of the Astros in our league, we're going to see them a lot going forward. Really helps experience-wise for our guys and confidence builder going forward. So
Kyle Seager picked up his 700th career RBI. Ty France was 2 for 4. He had a run and an RBI at Seattle and Houston. 6:10 tonight. L.J. Newsome will take on Framber Valdez to the American League West scoreboard last night, courtesy of Les Schwab. With Houston's loss, Oakland wraps up the American League West. They didn't have to play anybody. That's the way to do it. And the only other game in the AL West last night, Jared Walsh's had a grand slam that highlighted a 7-run 4th inning. The Angels, and they beat Texas, as you see there, 8-5. So this year's expanded playoffs means the top 2 teams from each division get in. So take a look at the standings. Seattle just 3 games behind Houston. They got 2 more games against the Astros at home, then a 4-game set in Oakland to wrap up the season. They pretty much got to win them all, but there's still a chance to make the postseason. Mariner fans, hang in there. It's been a long time. Those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Tuesday, 25 minutes after the hour. I had a plethora of choices to choose from for the obscure holiday. I had 12 different obscure holidays to choose from. It's National Voters Registration Day. It's National Road Warrior Day. It's National White Chocolate Day. National Legwear Day. National Ice Cream Cone Day. Hobbit Day. National Girls Night Out Day. National Centenarians Day for you 100-year-olds out there. It's Car Free Day. It's American Businesswomen's Day. It's Responsible Dog Ownership Day. They're all wonderful, but most wonderful of all, elephants. It's Elephant Appreciation Day. Who doesn't love the elephant? Of course, it's the largest land mammal on Earth. Elephants, and they're in danger. Who's kidding who? Elephants' biggest problem is us. Man, I got some fun facts about elephants, because I always do. Of course, elephants are the largest land mammals on the planet. How do they distinguish Asian elephants from African elephants? It's their ears. That's the difference. I did not know that till I looked it up. How many muscles are in the trunk of an elephant? 150,000 different muscles in the trunk of an elephant. Adult elephants have to eat 330 pounds of food a day just to stay alive. In fact, they spend about 75% of their waking hours eating so they can get the calories that they need to stay alive. Elephant calves, newborn elephants, can stand up within 20 minutes of being born. Speaking of that, ladies, I got to carry a baby for 9 months. Elephants have to carry babies for 2 years. Yes, an elephant pregnancy lasts 2 years, so no complaining. Elephants are scared of bees. Didn't know that. More elephants are poached for their ivory than new elephants are being born. So that's the kind of scale we don't want to see. In fact, 96 elephants every day are killed in Africa alone. And I mentioned that elephants have to eat 330 pounds of food every day just to stay alive. Well, at the other end of that spectrum, elephants produce about a ton of you know what every week. But that's good because it ends up being fertilizer and it keeps the land fertile, which grows food, which the elephants eat again. Happy Elephant Appreciation Day today. Love the big guys and girls that are the elephants. We used to go to Woodland Park Zoo all the time. Zoom right to the elephant. Just loved it. Today in history, it's September 22nd. I regret that I have but one life to live, to lose for my country. Nathan Hale hanged for spying during the American Revolution in Manhattan at the age of 21 on this date, September 22nd, 1776. Did he actually say that? Most historians don't. Probably a variation thereof, but it's kind of cool anyway. Where the hanging took place in New York City, nobody actually knows. There's actually 3 plaques that say it happened here. City Hall Park, as the statue says, this is where Nathan Hale was hung. There's a marker inside the Grand Central Terminal in Midtown that says this is where Nathan Hale was hung. And the Yale Club at 44th Street and Vanderbilt Avenue said he was hung somewhere in this neighborhood. Nobody really knows. In fact, Nathan Hale's body was never found. His family erected a cenotaph for him in Connecticut. Nathan Hale hung for spying on this date, 244 years ago today. Happy birthday to the office of the Postmaster General. It was established on this date in 1789, 231 years ago. It was a cabinet post. It was the Postmaster General was a member of the President's cabinet, just like the Secretary of State and the Attorney General and the Secretary of Interior, all the way until 1971. That's, of course, when the United States Postal Service was established and the Postmaster General just became a regular job. In fact, before 1971, the Postmaster General didn't really have much of anything to do. They got quite a bit of money for a cabinet position, and he just kind of didn't have any real responsibility. By the way, and you'll love this fact, the highest paid federal government official is the President of the United States. The second highest paid federal government official is the Postmaster General of the United States. So if you're looking for a gig, you might look into that. 231 years ago today. And finally, September 22nd, 1975, 45 years ago today, Sarah Jane Moore tries to assassinate President Gerald R. Ford in San Francisco, California, from ABC News.
The president is now on Air Force One, somewhere over the Midwest, a little more than an hour to go before he lands in Washington. Mr. Ford is all right. He had a close call in San Francisco earlier today when a 45-year-old woman, Sarah Moore, allegedly tried to shoot him. She will be arraigned in San Francisco within the hour in the attempted assassination. For details on what happened there, here is ABC White House correspondent Steve Bell.
It happened as the president was leaving the St. Francis Hotel after his last scheduled appearance. The president appeared stunned momentarily, but he was not hit. He was quickly pushed into a crouching position, into his limousine, and in moments the motorcade was underway, rushing away from the trouble area toward the airport.
Sarah J. Moore was across the street, about 40 feet away. She had a .38 caliber revolver. The first shot missed President Ford's head by about 5 inches. It struck the doorway behind him that he had just left. The second shot didn't quite happen. Oliver Sipple, standing nearby, a Vietnam veteran and a decorated Marine, saw what was going on, dove at Moore, grabbed her shooting arm, and prevented her from firing another shot. The second shot did, in fact, go off and hit a gentleman by the name of John Ludwig, who survived. Sarah J. Moore pled guilty to the attempted assassination of the president. She was paroled 13 years ago at the age of 77. Oliver Sipple was commended as a hero by the Secret Service and the San Francisco police. Unfortunately, amongst all the media publicity on the heroes of the heroic duties and what Oliver Sipple did to save the president's life, it was revealed that Oliver Sipple was gay, and it was a secret that he had kept from his parents and his family. He had been hiding his homosexuality from them. He asked the media, please don't tell anybody. They told everybody. His family disowned Oliver Sipple. He became estranged from him. It's a sad story. Happened on this date back in 1975. And finally, birthdays. Probably the most successful commissioner of any major North American sports league was born in this state in 1942, David Stern, who died on New Year's Day of this year at the age of 77. He was the commissioner of the NBA for 30 years, from 1984 to 2014, the longest tenured commissioner in the history of North American sports. 7 new teams joined the NBA when David Stern was the commissioner, and 6 teams moved from one city to another, including the Sonics. But David Stern, he did his job, born in the state in 1942. And as you know, I follow Japanese sumo wrestling as a regular business, and we want to celebrate a happy 27th birthday to Yakamaya Koto Araiko, the Japanese sumo wrestler who I watch on a regular basis. There you go. 33 minutes after the hour, a brand new opinion from Mike Magnotti coming your way, and my conversation with Bonnie Orr, the do's and don'ts of autumn gardening on this, the first day of fall. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I just read a Facebook post from somebody I like and admire, always have. But the poster recounted a totally disagreeable contact with a local politician of a certain party. This poster then posted, and I quote, "This is why I think people of that party are callous and insensitive. It's because their leadership at both local and national levels, they act callous and insensitive too." Now what is it when you categorize all members of a group by behavior of some of the members of the group? What is that called? What do we call that? And why is it okay to condemn prejudice in others but justify it in oneself? This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on this Tuesday. It is the very first day of autumn. The autumnal equinox happened at 6:30 this morning. Summer, all 93 days of it are in the books, and what an interesting summer it was. We'll talk about the summer that came and went and what to do this autumn with your garden and your lawn and everything else you need to know with my good friend, the host of Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees. She is back. She always comes for the equinoxes and the solstices 4 times a year. Bonnie Orr. Hi, Bonnie.
Hi there. Hello, hello.
You look wonderful.
Thank you.
We have to start out with this little story that I told Bonnie before we started taping this, and I believe in serendipity because it happens so much you have to believe in it. Grant Olson, our anchor, is our local gardening guy here at the station. He has a garden, he's had one for years and years. Loves to grow gardens, loves to grow vegetables that he eats, and of course we're the beneficiaries here because he brings in zucchini and peppers and cucumbers and what have you. And right before I left on vacation, this was a couple of weeks ago, Grant was bemoaning the fact that for whatever reason, the tomatoes just weren't happening. And he loves tomatoes and he grew a bunch of them, and he was sitting in the office going, I don't know what's going on with my tomatoes. Nothing happened. And that afternoon, in that afternoon's edition of the Wenatchee World, was Bonnie's column on why it was such a lousy year for tomatoes.
Right.
So Bonnie, in a nutshell, we'll start out with this. Why was it such a lousy year for tomatoes?
Well, we had a cold June and a cold July. I mean, we had nights in the 50s, which is very unusual in July especially. And tomatoes, they need 60 to 85, okay? That they are really pouty fruit. Well, what happens is that it's too cold for them to set fruit. And then what happens in August? Heat. And when it's heat, what happens is the pollen dries up before it actually can fertilize the fruit.
And we've talked about this before, when on Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees, when it's too cold or too warm, the tomatoes just light it.
Yeah,
they go dormant.
Yeah, but they shut down, and then it takes them most of the day to get moving again, but also the pollen becomes inactive. So that's why.
Okay.
But, we have the tomatoes, my tomatoes, and tomatoes have been okay. So this tomato, if you can see close
I'll hold it up and you can talk about it there, Bonnie.
Hold close up, there's stuff all over it. I don't know if
Yeah,
you can
this
see the
ash,
ash.
you can see it, yeah.
See the ash?
Yeah,
So-
right on the top. It's dug in there where the stem meets the...
That's right. And so this little tomato, it needs to be washed before, because my hands are just black when I harvest my tomatoes. What you do is you do a tablespoon of vinegar in a cup of water, or a fourth of a cup of vinegar in a quart, and then you wash them off. And that makes sure that it gets all of the solids off, okay?
So this is different from what, you have to do a different protocol for washing this because of the smoke and the ash than you would normally do.
Right, because there could be those volatile compounds, that
you don't want to eat.
You don't want to eat.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that's very important. You should always wash your fresh fruits and vegetables anyway, but different protocol then.
Yeah. And so anyway, so that's why I brought that in, just to remind people how to wash it.
We, for those of you who don't know, Bonnie's father was a meteorologist. She grew up in the wilds of Montana. I guess Montana is a rural country as it is. Can you ever remember a summer here in all the years that you've lived in North Central Washington where we had essentially no rain for the entire summer season?
It's not, we hardly had any for the winter.
I know.
Okay, we have had 2.6, 2.5 inches of rain for the year. Well, and last year, our normal is 9 inches, right? Last year we barely made 7. And right now we are 3/4 of the way through the year, and we've had 2.5 inches of rain.
Yeah, a little over 2.5, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're in a drought.
Well, yes, and the thing is that it can be that the soil becomes hydrophobic, and so that when it actually does start to rain, might run off rather than soaking in. And so that means trees and shrubs and all the wildlands. Whoa, yeah.
Is that something we should because we're in for some, according to Grant, who's our local weather guy, we're in for a pretty considerable dose of rain over the next 2-3 days after not having any rain at all. What else should that concern us with as far as our yard and garden? You've had no rain and then here's a bunch.
Well, first of all, I would adjust my water, my irrigation water, because if you're doing irrigation water and it is raining, could we get an inch? I mean, whatever. But anyway, the plants are starting to go dormant, and so it is time to cut back on the irrigation water.
Well, my yard has suffered, and I say that because I really don't believe in fertilizing a great deal because rain is nature's fertilizer.
Well, and so's all this ash.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah, the ash really has done a great.
so will this help a little bit in the when we get into the autumn gardening, the layer of ash there,
Yeah,
work it into the soil?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like the year after Mount St. Helens
Yes,
blew.
exactly. But you have to wear a mask because
Right.
otherwise this stuff flows around.
Right. Okay, let's talk about trees and shrubs.
This is the time of year to plant trees and shrubs. And what you do is you can do the planting until the ground is 40 degrees. And last year we had that hot little, or that quick cold snap in the beginning of October, but the ground did not actually get to 40 until November. So what you want to be able to do is plant trees and shrubs and have a chance for them to grow new roots. And they will grow until 40.
So the idea is they're not competing. You don't have to water a ton. It's not being beaten down by
No.
hot sun and lots of water.
Yeah,
it can really establish itself.
That's right, without having to have any type of heat stress. And this is the time to transplant also. One of the things is people want to transplant a tree or a shrub, and if it is more than about 4 feet high, or at the most 5 feet high, you're just whistling Dixie because you can't get enough roots,
Yeah.
and the thing will truly be in shock and won't make it. And it was just too much work.
Is this also the time of the year where local garden stores will sell you or try to sell you things that you really shouldn't be planting at this time of the year?
No, actually, this is the time of year to plant perennials if they are still in stock. And planting perennials gives them a head start with lots of new roots. And so your perennials show in the early summer, because that's when the perennials bloom in June, they will be absolutely fabulous.
What about tulips?
Okay, that's bulbs. Okay,
Bulbs, right.
And you can plant bulbs until the ground is 40.
Okay,
Okay.
Same rule of thumb.
Uh-huh.
What about, and I made this mistake a couple of years ago, what about a lawn? Either planting a lawn or having the guys come out with the big rolls of lawn and laying them out. Too late for that?
No, again, until the ground is 40.
Okay, so.
So that's not going to do it. But there's other things to do, and I have always said there is the I'll never do this again
I'll
list.
never do it again.
And so what you do is you take pictures, and then in the spring you remember that you do not want to do that again. This is the time to get rid of any thugs, any plants that have been a nuisance because you've had to chop them back, just haven't made you happy. This is the time to not do it
Well,
again.
this brings up an interesting thing. The tree in my yard has some dead branches and limbs, and I've been pretty good at trimming them.
Uh-huh.
For the most part, it's not that hard. They've been dead for a while, and you just up there with a little handsaw. But there's also some limbs that are starting to get to the point where they need to be trimmed back. Can I do that now this time of the year?
That's not how God designed the tree. Okay, it's the wrong tree in the wrong place if it is over the sidewalk or whatever.
Okay.
And so you just make one cut, and it's at the base.
Okay. So
With
I
a
gotta
chainsaw.
follow the thing all the way. Oh, there's where it starts at.
The trunk.
The trunk. Okay.
Oh,
just cut the
chainsaw.
big
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, otherwise you're going to be whacking at it. It's always going to be unhappy. One cut. That's all.
Let's talk weeding.
This is the time to weed. I mean, it's cool out. It's sunny. It's really nice. This is the time to get rid of the quackgrass and any of the other weeds, the field bindweed or anything else. If you do it now, you don't have to do it in the spring when the ground is cold, you're cold, it's wet, hope, hope, hope. But anyway, this is a wonderful time to get everything all ready, and then what you do is you mulch. Because when you mulch your flower beds or wherever you have weeded, two things happen. You can use leaves and straw and grass clippings, okay? You put those on, and then weed seeds need light to germinate. So the weed seeds will not be able to germinate. But all during the winter, all sorts of insects and worms will be using the mulch for food, and you'll have richer soil as a result.
What about, it's not on our list of things to talk about, what about composting?
I compost year-round.
You compost year-round, and anybody can do it.
Yeah.
For the most part. And Bonnie's rule of thumb is as long as it didn't have a mother, it can pretty much go in there, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just stir it and water it and stir
That's
it
right,
and water it.
and you could apply some of your compost to your soil after you have weeded, and this would be a good time to get it down to the roots, and so again, the worms and the insects will pull that compost down, or the particles, and digest it.
We've talked about what a terrible year it's been for rain because we didn't have any all summer long.
Isn't that just amazing?
It's just amazing. It really is.
And
It's
last
just-
year we had all that rain in August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing until again later on this week. We're expecting quite a bit of rain. What about the actual manual watering of whatever it is?
Well, the
that
thing
you're
is,
out
if
there?
you've been, you know, you have, it's 1 inch of rain, 1 inch of irrigation for lawns until the end of June or till it gets hot. And this year, we really didn't need it until halfway through July to go up to 2 inches. You should not be putting down 2 inches right now. First of all, your trees and shrubs are trying to become dormant. And one of the ways that is they start cutting off the water, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you should be cutting it back. And we only have a couple of more weeks. We have 3 more weeks for water.
Right.
If you
And the nights get
have-
cooler, so it's holding the moisture
That's right.
in more. There's
That's
a lot
right.
more dew on the ground.
And it's only in
things
the
like that.
70s. The temperatures are only in the 70s.
Right.
So
To scalp or not to scalp? That is the question.
here's the thing: is that many times people want to clean everything off, you know, and have this tidy look, so that when the snow falls, because we haven't had enough snow to make this effect, everything is smooth and beautiful. Well, that may be fine, you know, but the problem is it is ecologically unsound. One of the things with dead leaves and with when the perennials have their leaves are kind of lopped onto the ground is that it's an insectary. It is where all the insects overwinter. And remember, 95% of insects are good guys. So you need to have a place for them to shelter, a place for birds to shelter, a place for insects to lay eggs, and so that the good guys can come out in the spring. And if you scalp everything, you have deleted an entire ecosystem. And you also don't want to cut off your decorative grasses, because the idea of growing them is in the winter they have beautiful frost effects, you know, on the long stems.
You mentioned you want to cut down on the watering of your lawn. Do you want to cut down on the mowing of your lawn? So
Well, your lawn should be at least 2.5 inches, maybe 3 inches, okay, if we get a lot of cold. We have not been having cold, though, you know, the last few years. So you don't want it so that it flops. You don't want to fertilize. I mean, you know, everybody, somehow or another, Scotts wants to sell more fertilizer, so we have this fall fertilizing. It isn't necessary, absolutely isn't, and it leads to snow mold.
Mhm.
Okay.
I understand
yeah,
completely. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you want to have your grass a little bit longer than normal.
Yeah.
By the time
It
the first.
just in case it gets really cold, it would protect the crowns of the grass. But anyway.
You know, I'm not going to see you again for a while while we're talking about autumn. The autumn leaves drift by my window. If you got a lot of leaf-bearing trees, they're going to start doing their job.
You're going to rake them up and store them.
Because?
You know, put in hog wire or something like that. Or you can just put them on your flower beds. You know, if you pick them up with the lawnmower, that grinds them up, and that makes them easy food for all of the wonderful things that are going to make your soil more healthy.
I've seen 2 rules of thumbs with my gardening buddy. As soon as the first 5 or 6 leaves start coming down, they start raking, and then the next one, they rake it again. And then there's the other people who say, I'm not going to rake my lawn until every darn leaf is off the tree. Is both acceptable?
Whatever. You just don't want it to get really wet and soggy, you know, because then they're hard to get up, and then if you don't get them up at all, it smothers the grass plants. Last year we had that funny October freeze at the beginning of October, and there's a thing called abscission, in which the leaf of the tree is cut off, and it gets sealed off, and then it falls off. Well, abscission had not taken place, and so we had all these dead leaves, like till January, still hanging on the trees.
Finally, as far as the harvest is in for the most part. You still got a few things you want to pull into your garden, but you think to yourself, I want to eat all of this stuff. How do I make sure that the stuff I have in my garden now that I'm going to harvest over the next week or so I can eat in November and December?
Well, Okay, but part of it is that I also grow a fall garden.
Yes.
I have beets and I have carrots.
Carrots,
and
your
I have
carrots are
parsnips. I know.
unbelievably flavorful.
I know, you see, and so you mulch those really, really well, and then in February, there's just nothing better than that.
And they just lay there and they grow. You don't have to do anything. Yeah, just put them under the blanket.
That's right, and that's right, and it's just such a joy to have and you can do spinach and lettuce and radishes, and then the spinach is the first thing that comes up in March, and so you have another crop of spinach.
We started out with this tomato, probably one of the few that actually made it. Don't forget to wash it, as Bonnie said, get all the and this is what we're talking about, ash from the recent fires. Now what are you gonna do with this thing? You can't eat it now, but you want to eat it, so let's talk about storing.
If it's ripe, you're gonna have to preserve it in some way.
Okay,
And
such as?
well, you can cook them up or can them. You can cook them and freeze them. I personally do not like tomatoes which have been frozen raw, because what happens is that all the sugars dissipate in it. I think they smell different and taste different. Everybody has their own opinion. That's mine. But anyway, so ripe tomatoes right now, you have to do something with them. Make tomato paste. I make the most wonderful tomato juice, you know. So, but green tomatoes, if it starts to get really cool, first of all, this week you should cut off all of your tomatoes, which are smaller than your thumb, and take off all the blossoms, because there's not going to be enough warmth to actually grow them.
Right.
And that will put all the energy into the few tomatoes that are still making. So you have to do some pruning this week. Then I get an apple box, and the purple dividers that they have within the apple boxes, we're so lucky that we live in a place where they pack apples. And I put a green tomato into each one of those cells.
Okay.
And then I have a whole box full, and I can just lift up the whole thing and check and see whether or not they're ripe. And I usually have tomatoes for Christmas.
Well, we talked about this at the beginning of this conversation. It was a very difficult year for you tomato growers out there. No kid, and Bonnie just explained why. From what you've been hearing from your people, what vegetables had a particularly good year in the summer of 2020?
I think somehow or another peppers were good, cucumbers were good. Who knows, you know? But mostly we've gotten just that people are concerned about tomatoes, because most people just grow tomatoes.
Yeah.
You know, which
and I love tomatoes. And who's kidding? We've talked about this before. Store-bought tomatoes don't cut it. They just don't. No flavor.
There is a resource for people to ask for, and that is the Master Gardeners, the WSU Master Gardeners, and they have been doing a diagnostic clinic virtually, where you send in a photograph, you ask a question, then they do follow-up questions and follow-up photographs, and it's ChelanMasterGardeners@gmail.com. Chelan Master Gardeners with an S @gmail.com.
Are their offices on Douglas Street closed because of the COVID thing?
Everything is closed, and so everything's being done virtually.
Okay, but they're there to help. That's what they do.
That's right.
That's what they do. Anything else on your mind while I got you here, Bonnie? I'll let you have the last word for Autumn Gardening 2020.
Well, the thing is that this is a wonderful time to garden. It's cool. There's things to do. The flowers look radiant, and you really do have to be tough. You have to get rid of those things. Like, I know I made a mistake this last year, and that is I planted zinnias near perennials, not remembering how big the perennials were going to get. And so the zinnias have really suffered. I'll never do that again. But I also leave seed pods, the zinnia seed pods. They start to fade and people cut them off. The goldfinches will come and eat every single seed. And so saving your spent flowers instead of cutting them off, for all of your perennials, all of your annuals, the birds will come and love it.
It happens to the best of us, doesn't it?
Yes.
Sometimes it really does. And one last little note about the Chelan Douglas Master Gardeners. Again, as Bonnie mentioned, their actual offices on Douglas Street are closed because of COVID. They have done yeoman's work. I had a very good friend of mine who moved from one place to another, moved in the winter, didn't really know what plants or shrubs or gardens were in the house that he bought, and he went out in spring when the snow melted and took all these pictures and sent them off to the Master Gardener and said, "What is all this stuff for this house I just bought?" And they helped him enormously.
Identify the things.
So this is what this is, and this is how it grows, or this is a weed.
It's
this
a
has
free
got to go.
service.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Bonnie Orr, everybody!
Okay.
Yay!
Thank you, Dan.
I guess I get to see you come December.
Yes.
I can't wait.
So happy fall.
Happy autumn to everybody.
Yeah.
And you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
You love to help others. You need a solid career. You can have it all with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take patient vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain medical records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, visit chartercollege.edu because we work to get you to work.
The Meat Shop in Chelan has all the meats, homemade side dishes, sauces, and rubs you need for a summer feast. The Meat Shop opens 6 days a week to serve you in downtown Chelan.
More than a health food store, it's your good food store. Bear Foods and Cafe Creperie, a feast for the eyes and the palate.
For the Chelan Valley's most unique tasting experience, visit One Wines, a true boutique winery producing only one white, one rosé, and one red with a rare exceptional vintage. Limited to 800 cases per year. Visit One Wines today.
Collins Fashions announces their buy one, get one free sale on all Red Tag clothing. Brands that you love like Tribal, Jag, French Dressing, Joseph Ribcop, Foxcroft, Liverpool, Cut, etc., etc. Dresses, tees, blouses, ankle pants, and capris. Just remember, buy one item and get the next item of equal or lesser value free. New fall jeans, slacks, tops, sweaters, boots arriving daily. Brighton fall jewelry collections are stunning. Time for a new handbag, ladies. All at Collins, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
Hi, I'm Kevin Prosser, and this is my print shop, Color Effects in Cashmere. Color Effects offers screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing on t-shirts, jerseys, bags, banners, signs, and more. With 30 years experience, you won't be disappointed with the quality and quick turnaround times you will get at more than a fair price. Please call Color FX.
And we are back on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this Tuesday, the 22nd day of September. It is the first day of autumn. The autumnal equinox happened at 6:31 this morning, so autumn is about an hour and a half old. And a couple other notes I mentioned at the top of the hour. There are 100 days left in the year 2020, beginning today, and it's 6 weeks until Election Day. Thought I'd just throw that out there. It's almost like Mother Nature is going to throw the proverbial summer to autumn switch because we got some changes on the way. Nice day today. We're going to have quite a bit of sunshine. The clouds will be thickening up as the day progresses. It'll be pretty much normal temperature-wise, so some sunshine mixed with clouds, kind of like what we had yesterday. It's going to be a little bit warmer. And then some much-needed rain is finally coming our way on Wednesday. But there's been a couple of changes since the last time you and I spoke. The timing of the cold front has slowed down. It's taking its time. It's a big cold front off the Pacific coast, but it's kind of slowed down a little bit. It's still coming our way, but instead of coming Wednesday morning, it's going to be more like Wednesday afternoon, and especially on Wednesday night. And the other thing that's changed from when we visited 24 hours ago is the rain amounts. We were hoping for maybe up to a quarter of an inch of rain by the time this whole thing comes and goes, which is the more rain, the better, quite frankly. We need it. But now they say, probably not that much. We are going to get rain. We got a 100% chance of rain, especially Wednesday night, but we're not going to get as much as we were anticipating. But if you look at that map there, in the Omak, Okanagan area, up near Mattawa, and then down, of course, to the Winthrop area and into the Methow Valley, they're going to get a little bit more rain. But the lee of the Cascades is going to keep us fairly dry. Now, if you're heading over to Spokane or into the Idaho Panhandle, you're going to get more rain as well on Wednesday night into Thursday. All right. From the National Weather Service, here you go. Partly cloudy today. We'll top off at 79, right around there. It was 71, by the way, yesterday. Our normal high is right around 75. Clouds tonight, 60 for the overnight low. You'll notice the clouds get thicker and thicker as the day progresses. Wednesday, we got a chance of rain in the afternoon, about a 50-50 chance of rain during the daylight hours on Wednesday. We'll get up to about 70. The real rain comes between about 6 o'clock tomorrow night till about 2 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. That's the best chance of some pretty good rain. Not a lot of rain, but pretty consistent light rain. Again, from 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock Wednesday night into Thursday morning. We'll get down to about 56 for the overnight low. Still a little bit of residual rain on Thursday, and then we get some sun breaks. And then one more little dose of rain coming our way on Friday before we dry out on Saturday. And look what happens on Sunday and Monday. It's been known to happen. Even though we're going to be well into autumn by Sunday and Monday, we can see temperatures in the 80s by the time we get to the end of the weekend. That's it for us. Have a great first day of autumn. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.